morning, everybody. I'm Casey Linane Bowie. I'm one of the trustees for the Spokane Library, and I will be giving our land acknowledgement this morning. We are gathered on the traditional homelands of the four bands of the Spokane tribe: Upper Band, Middle Band, Lower Band, Chewelah Band. Since time immemorial, the Spokane tribe of Indians has lived and cared for these grounds, identifying themselves as flesh of the earth. We pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. We show gratitude to the land, river, and peoples who have been fishing, hunting, harvesting, and gathering here for generations. May we learn from one another's stories so that we may nurture the relationship of the people of the Spokane tribe and to all those who share this land. All right, so thank you very much for joining us here today in this beautiful new space. I'll speak very briefly. I just want to go back to that part of that land acknowledgement. May we learn from one another's stories so that we may nurture the relationship of the people of the Spokane tribe. I think what a beautiful location here that we have to continue developing stories for our future youth, also for the people who are here today in our neighborhoods. Thank you, and I want to express my gratitude to the people of Spokane for their continued support of the Spokane Library, and then also to the Parks Board for their partnership. It's in collaboration that we make Spokane a better, more beautiful place together. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce our next speaker, Mayor Nadine Woodward.
I'm just going to lower my mask while I speak. Thank you, Casey, and welcome to another library ribbon cutting. This is fantastic. Our fourth. I lose track. Thank you, Andrew, for that. It's been a week of ribbon cuttings, really, but this is so spectacular. When you look around here, I think the thing I love about this location the best, and the way that the architecture of this building displays, is bringing the outside in. And I love all of our new libraries, but I told Andrew I think this is my absolute favorite one. And this neighborhood deserves something as special as we're seeing here today. So far, we've joined together to celebrate the remodel of the Shada Library, the new Hilliard Library, and the new non-traditional library, the Hive, which is probably my second favorite one. It's been quite a year for the Spokane Public Libraries. And we owe all of this to our citizens who approved a $77 million bond, citizens who said yes to creating 21st century libraries that are becoming innovative and really creative spaces. At each neighborhood that we visited, we have seen the potential that these new libraries are bringing to their community. We're seeing meeting rooms that allow neighbors, students, boards, and organizations to come together in safe and inviting spaces. We're seeing unique children's areas, like the one right behind me, that provide opportunities to learn and create a place to get some energy out before children can dive into the books. We're also seeing books too, but our libraries have embraced modernization and expanded offerings to continue providing people and programming that builds a more connected community. The Liberty Park Library is also reflective of the renewed investment that Spokane is bringing to the East Central neighborhood. We are dedicated to revitalizing this historic neighborhood, and along with other projects on the way, this new library will keep East Central moving forward. So this is a wonderful day for East Central. Thank you, and now I'd like to welcome Councilmember Betsy Wilkerson.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to try not to cry because I'm very nostalgic about this library and its location today. So I want to say, first of all, what an honor to be part of the celebration. I have to say, this park, Liberty Park, has been a part of my life as long as I can remember. I attended Edison Elementary, where the community center sits today, and walked down here. I lived on 4th in Altamont. I think I could ride a bike then. I swam in the old pool that did not have a heater, but it was where we swam in the summertime. And where this library sits today is where my brothers played tennis, or they played at playing tennis, because that was during the Arthur Ashe days. So that was really amazing time. So this library is in a hood, but in this hood, what we call East Central, affectionately. But for the Black community, it's extremely special because this is where our churches gathered. This is where we had our celebrations. There was a Black baseball team that played down there in that field. This is where we had barbecues, and this is where we hung out as young people and teenagers. So it's an amazing. Sometimes you talk about the soundtracks of your life. You got that one special song. Liberty Park is my soundtrack of a place to be. Now, to see this library mark the next chapter in the amazing history and legacy, wow. This library, to me and to many others, not only represent a place of learning with the state-of-the-art resources that the mayor talked about, but economic development and opportunities yet to be discovered. That's the exciting part, because it's a spark in the imagination. It also gives us in East Central a sense of pride. You know, often we felt that we were kind of like the last kid that was picked for the basketball team. And this time we feel like we were first. Like, come on, East Central, we want you on the team. So the synergy that has created is just another catalyst in this neighborhood. One of many, I hope, in the renewal in all of East Central. So I look forward to many visits here with my grandkids, dropping them off, coming here reading a book, letting them do their thing. But I also look forward to meeting some old friends, and I look forward to meeting some new friends. So I want to be the first one to welcome all of Spokane to the new East Central Library. Come on down. And with that, I do want to thank the Spokane Public Library and the city for its investment in partnership for making this library and this day possible. Next, you will have my seatmate, none other than Councilmember Lori Kinnear.
I guess I'm short. Okay. You know what? I am so blessed to serve with Betsy Wilkerson. Can we give her another hand, please? Hi, everyone. I remember when libraries were these stodgy places. I used to go after school, come home a little late, tell my mother I was studying. I wasn't studying, I was meeting my boyfriend. And it's progressed to the type of gathering place we see here today. It's awe-inspiring. This library is primed to be a hub for the East Central community. It's a tremendous asset to this beautiful park and surrounding neighborhood that has long been unjustly treated by the city and by the state. When we talk about investing in our communities and neighborhoods, libraries are the foundation from which we can build. I'm committed to making sure that this is just the beginning of a place-based investment in this neighborhood. And I want to thank the voters who approved the bond that led to this and the community leaders who shaped the vision for this branch. I look forward to seeing the community learning, the connection and leadership that comes from this gathering place, and yes, from meeting up with your boyfriend. So I'd like to introduce somebody that we all look up to, Garrett Jones, our Parks Director.
Well, good morning, and thank you, Councilmember Kinnear. We love partnerships in park and recreation, and this is a perfect example of this relationship between libraries and parks. Bringing a library to Liberty Park enhances the experience of both park users and library users. Many of you recall of what was here before. It was an underutilized tennis court that really didn't serve or benefit our aquatic center users, our park users, or our library or citizens. The library will serve as that additional gathering place for us in the park where families can come and spend the entire day. So if we can all get our imaginary hats on, imagine a free swim clinic in the morning, a mid-morning program at the library, learning something new. Lunchtime mobile recreation van with games and play, afternoon open swim, story hour at the library, outdoor movie and a family picnic, and then maybe even our own libraries director, Andrew Chance, dressed up as the Sasquatch, wandering through the park. These partnerships between Spokane City Libraries and Parks and Recreation help us utilize taxpayers' funds and use public lands efficiently. One piece too that we don't know is a part of this relationship, we actually have investment outside of this library that we're going to be able to use funds to update our playground, to make the park feel more inviting and safe for this neighborhood. On behalf of Parks and Recreation, we're thrilled to celebrate this expanded partnership and provide the greatest benefit for the entire community. And next, I would like to introduce Mark Daly, the principal at Integris Architecture.
Thanks, Garrett. Good morning. Thanks for inviting me. I was asking Andrew yesterday, geez, Andrew, what do you think would be good for me to talk about at the building dedication tomorrow? And he says, well, Mark, talk about the design and the philosophy of the architecture. And I thought, geez, I don't often get a chance to do that. And before the thought was through my head, he said, but make it quick. So I'm going to do a pre-apology. I'm going to sound a lot like an architect, and I'll make it quick. I do want to start with a thank you, a big heartfelt thank you, honestly, to Spokane Public Library, their super cool staff, Karis and Andrew and Penny and Tara and Jason. There's just so many of them that it was really a great process to work with them. I want to thank the library board. We did a lot of presentations to the board, and they were nice to me most of the time. They were curious and thoughtful and discerning, and for a bunch of board members, they're pretty cool people, so thank you to the board. I do want to mention our design team at Integris, Megan Onley, and I know Katie Vingland's not here today, or Ty, but their creativity is all around you right now. I want to thank our structural engineers. It's a very structural-centric building. I want to thank MW engineers, our MEP consultants, AHBL, our landscape and civil consultants, and also our friends at Leone and Keeble, who were our contractors, Casey and Mike in particular, if they're here. So it does take a village. I've said many times, show me a great library or great piece of architecture and I'll show you a great owner. And this does not happen by accident. Believe me, this is easily one of the most rewarding projects of my long career. There's three things that really struck me when we started this process. The community in the neighborhood stuck out, as Betsy mentioned, and I know Andrew's going to talk a little bit about that, but the historic Liberty Park site, and I didn't realize this was really the most historic park in Spokane. It wasn't Manitou, and it went all the way across I-90, and that all changed when I-90 happened. So you can still see historic basalt structures on the other side of I-90, and you'll see a little bit of that in this building. And then the third thing was the really progressive attitude that Spokane Public Library has with the libraries of the 21st century. And frankly, there were several times where I'm going, the stars are aligning on this. We've got great site, we've got a great neighborhood, and we've got a great client. Let's just not screw this up. So the design drivers were kind of fun. We used the metaphor of a picnic shelter. We've all had a hot dog or a bologna sandwich under a picnic shelter, and they're really simple, hardworking, honest buildings or structures. And this is kind of a picnic shelter on steroids, I guess. We also thought, geez, why can't Liberty Park have a front porch? Let's make the library the front porch and make it a usable space. It was not a program space in our space list, but it really became an opportunity to blur the line between the building and the park, outdoor craft fairs, sit and read a book, connect with Liberty Park. And it's not every day you get to design a library, you know, the most beloved building type really in our communities in a park. The materiality was really important, warm, tactile. The building will patina over time. Our rusting metal, which takes on the tones and the textures of the basalt rocks, you know, the basalt wall we've got to the south, the expression of structure, much like a park shelter. And if the library has a little bit of living room from the neighborhood here, if this becomes the neighborhood's living room or it becomes the neighborhood's backyard or their front porch, that would be great because as Betsy mentioned, the community has been, this neighborhood has been underserved historically, and to have you know, a building of this identity and a building with this spirit and this soul here is the ultimate compliment for the design team. So congratulations, Spokane Public Library, and thank you very much. I'd like to introduce Andrew Chance, Executive Director of Spokane Public Library.
Well, thank you all, and thank you to all of our speakers this morning. It's been great sharing this experience with you. Last week at the ribbon cutting for Shadle Park Library, many of us had this moment when we opened the doors and rounded the corner towards the kid spaces and saw the kiddos and the caregivers just embrace the space with joy. And we all heard that sound that only the little ones can make with their chatter. And it was overwhelming for a lot of us. It really defined the reason that we did this, right? It's for future generations. It's for that success in the community. And I feel so lucky to be part of that experience. And even luckier when I remembered that I get to do this again in a week at Liberty Park. And we don't, you know, we're not gonna have that suspense that we have at a traditional ribbon cutting where you haven't, you know, seen the building yet. You've all taken it in here, and I can see the joy on your faces. So we still get to share in that moment of joy, because there's nothing like the happiness that a new library building can bring to a community. It's really special. And I'm so excited about today's opening, and it's not just because of the, I'm gonna say it, Mark, iconic architecture of this building or the new services that we'll be able to provide, but really it's about how the story of the library came to be. It came from a lot of community feedback. And I remember hearing how our friends at the community center would bus the kids down to the downtown library because they couldn't get a good experience at the East Side Library. And we'd hear how the meeting rooms were too small and that the building just didn't work for what the community wanted. And hearing stories like that made us think big, especially for our kid spaces. And really, Liberty Park sparked us into going in this really bold direction with all of our play spaces. It all started with the concept of Liberty Park. And the location, that came from the community too. We couldn't build up at the current site, and we needed more space. In fact, we were looking at Sprague as a possible location, and we heard it from the community, no, we need to stay on the other side of the 90. But that didn't really solve the problem of the 90 and how it has fractured this neighborhood. So we still knew we needed a space on Sprague. And eventually that location, it turned into the Hive. These are two very different facilities that will continue to serve the public in very different ways. One, a place where curiosity and imagination is cultivated and nurtured at Liberty Park. The other, where that curiosity and imagination and sharing of ideas is let loose in artist spaces and classrooms. So we're here today because we listened to the community and because Parks saw the benefit of having a library here, and because the mayor, the council, the library, and the school came together around one cause. That's improving the opportunities for our citizens. And because Integris designed this building that really would not fit anywhere else. And because Leone and Keeble took those designs and made them real. And because Hill International, Helvetica, AHBL, Lucy Creative, Spokane Arts, the Spokane Public Library Foundation, our friends of the library, and our library staff supported and enhanced this vision. It's really been truly an amazing journey. I'm kind of sad that we don't get to do this for another 6 months when we open up Central, but that's okay. And finally, yeah, we're here because the voters said yes. We have tremendous support for the libraries here in Spokane, and we cannot thank you enough. So with that, I can't think of a better thing to do than to invite the speakers back up here so we can share in that joy of sharing a new library with the world. I also invite Thomas up. He's our customer experience manager for the site.
Can I impose on you, Andrew?
Yes.
So I see East Central faces peppered in this group. Would all the East Central residents just give me a wave or a shout out or something? So I want to give a hand to the East Central neighborhood and the citizens.
Where are the scissors?
Dun, 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 dun. I don't think I need this.
You can do that. These actually cut.
Does this cut?
This is symbolic.
No, I just need some. Yeah, move the children, move the children.
Father wears his Sunday best. Mother's tired, she needs a rest.